Tonight on VCU InSight, remembering Tommy, how a tragedy is bringing a community together and sparking change.
House hunting, what local experts say to anticipate in the spring market.
And Portal in the Park will show you how you can travel across the world in a shipping container. All this and more.
VCU InSight starts right now.
From the Richard T. Robertson School of Media and Culture at Virginia Commonwealth University, named Best Student Newscast in the Mid-Atlantic, this is VCU InSight.
Good evening and welcome to VCU InSight. I'm Elise Kim.
And I'm Sarah Daniel. Thanks for joining us. Richmond has rallied behind a dog whose story has touched the hearts of many. I spoke to the shelter that helped care for him and the people who came to remember him. Wagging tails and happy faces. That's how people picture man's best friend. When a dog was found abandoned and set on fire in Abner Clay Park, a community came together.
Oh, devastated. I just wanted to get out there and do whatever I could to do anything to help.
Tommy, as he became known, had burns on over 40% of his body. His caretakers and the city hoped for his recovery. But Tommy passed away 5 days after he was found.
A lot of us never got to meet Tommy, but Tommy was family, and we were emotionally invested in his story. He was part of us.
Since his passing, people have been coming together to honor him. His loss has shaken the community, but also unified it. Richmond Animal Care and Control has opened up their doors for people to come together and remember Tommy. They hope that Tommy's story will help inspire people to welcome dogs like Diego into their family. Looking forward, Tommy's story is a call to action.
Tommy's going to be an advocate for everybody else and all the other animals that are still here, that are still in positions that need to be fixed.
A reminder of the profound way that we connect to our pets. Dog lover Jennifer Medley says the response to Tommy has given her hope.
And the world's not such a horrible place at times, but yeah, so it's nice to see all different types of people coming together to help, and raise money and support the cause.
So many people wanted to remember Tommy that RACC held a week of open house events so that everyone who wanted to could have a chance to pay their respects. Among those affected by Tommy's story, state lawmakers. InSight's Talia Fagart joins us from the Capitol to tell us about what some are now calling Tommy's Law. Talia?
Sarah, the General Assembly has passed a bill that would make animal cruelty a felony. Right now, torturing animals is only a felony if the animal dies. This bill would make it so that animal cruelty is a Class 6 felony instead of a misdemeanor, even if the animal lives. Class 6 felonies carry a maximum sentence of 5 years behind bars. The bill passed both chambers with unanimous support. This bill has been in the works for several years now, but Tommy's story gave it its final push. Now his attacker has still not been caught. So if you do have any information, contact Crime Stoppers at 780-1000. Reporting from the Capitol, I'm Talia Fagart.
You now have to be 21 to buy tobacco products in the Commonwealth. State lawmakers voted to raise the age requirement from 18 to 21 years old. The change isn't just about cigarettes. It also applies to all products containing nicotine, like e-cigs and vapes. While teen smoking is at an all-time low, the FDA says vaping has increased 80% among high schoolers since 2017.
And starting in April, those tobacco prices will also cost more. InSight's Brianna Ray Turner explains why cigarette prices are on the rise.
Because I say yes.
Philip Morris USA top brand cigarettes are going up 9 to 10 cents. The ninth increase since May of 2014. The company says the price hike is due to the increasing popularity of electronic cigarettes.
The way the prices look down here compared to other states, I'm not complaining. So it's really a bad thing, but you need to stop smoking anyway, so maybe it's a good thing.
Starling Forrester says he buys 2 to 3 packs of cigarettes a week.
I hope one day the prices go down, but it don't look that way, so I guess stop smoking. That's the only thing I can say.
The owner of Clay Express Mart, Rami Amaraman, says tobacco products make up a big percentage of his sales.
I know it's got to be complaints.
But
instead I can affect my store, I still would have traffic on cigarettes.
The price increase is expected to go into effect with shipments at the end of March.
With Altria investing $12.8 billion toward the jewel business, You can expect to see coupons inside of Philip Morris cigarette boxes for Joel. For VCU InSight, Brianna Ray Turner.
Even with the increase, Virginia has some of the lowest cigarette prices in the country.
Virginians convicted of capital murder could soon face mandatory life sentences. InSight's Anaya Spraggs joins us from the Capitol with more. Anaya?
Elise, the General Assembly has passed a bill that will require life in prison for adults who commit capital murder. Capital murder includes crimes such as premeditated murder of a police officer, child under 14, or abduction victim. It also includes murder for hire. Of course, people who are convicted of these crimes do often serve long sentences. Right now, that sentence length is being determined by a judge. If Governor Northam does sign the bill, judges will be required to sentence those convicted of these crimes to life in prison. Reporting from Richmond, I'm Anaya Spraggs.
Home sales were down slightly in Richmond last year, but local experts say the overall market is healthy. InSight's Dakota Rust tells us what to expect during the prime season of buying and selling.
Mark and Mia Renee are like many other families around the Richmond community, eager to find a new home.
Gosh, we've been looking since August of last year.
So far, no luck, but this year's market is just now getting started. Del Claiborne and Liz Brown from Mission Realty say listings will really pick up in the next few weeks.
The spring brings a lot more energy, and for whatever reason, something about the good weather makes people want to be out and about and see those houses.
According to Zillow, the median price of homes currently listed in Richmond is nearly $240,000.
Spring and summer are the most popular times for buying and selling. That means more inventory and more competition. That can drive up prices.
We were fortunate enough to find another property to put an offer in, and that did not go as we wanted.
In 2018, the average days a home spent on the market was 32. This is down from 37 days in 2017. Even with the competition, Brown says buying a house is a sound investment.
I wish I would have started earlier, and I wish someone would have pushed me to do that and said, this is the right thing to do, this is a great idea.
Last year, the average list price in the Richmond area increased 3.5% from 2017. But of course, for buyers, it's more than a financial investment.
We're just looking for a place where we can just call home for the next, 20 plus years.
Retirement. We're not moving anymore.
Yeah, so it's been a long journey.
For VCU InSight, I'm Dakota Rust.
The average interest rate on a mortgage is currently around 4.6%. That's higher than last year, but still historically low.
Coming up after the break, you don't want to go to war with the Rams this season. VCU InSight will be right back.
We've never been very good at sitting still. Maybe that's why we built our campus in the middle of a city. Why we put our classrooms on riverbanks, in Fortune 500 companies, even on stage. At Virginia Commonwealth University, learning happens everywhere. What matters most is how you make it real.
Every day in Richmond, about 600 people face homelessness. InSight's Tai Wong reports on an effort to make sure people get the resources they need when the temperature gets cold.
Don't be fooled by the occasional nice day. It's still winter and temperatures regularly drop below freezing, especially at night. I talked to one local group that's working to make sure no one is left out in the cold.
It's like the shelter's crowded, it's cold, so it's like you don't even want to be there, but you don't have anywhere else to go.
19-year-old Don Pettis spent a year and a half homeless with his mom and little sister.
It's kind of like you feel down on yourself. It's like you feel kind of like you wish you could be in a better place and you're trying to find that better place.
Together, the trio were some of thousands who depend on shelters.
Something unfortunate that could happen to all of us, just like one little thing.
Richmond has 13 shelters and additional temporary shelters during the cold weather months. It's 33 degrees outside. Now imagine not having a nice warm jacket like this one. Now imagine not having a nice warm shelter to stay in either. Roughly around 600 Richmond residents are living in conditions like this. I spoke to a local organization who says they're trying to prevent, reduce, and end homelessness.
So Homeward is a planning and support agency, so we work to have data, to understand the problem of homelessness, to bring people together to solve that problem, and then really to measure progress over time.
Kelly Horn, the executive director of Homeward, says the city has 350 shelter beds, but when temperatures drop below 40 degrees...
The city has an ordinance that governs the hypothermia shelter, and the ordinance states that the city must provide a hypothermia overflow shelter if all the other beds are full.
Homeward says 9% of those living in shelters in 2018 had children living with them, like Pettis and his family.
And just to think that like this could happen to all of us, and like it's just something to think that like they're people too. It's like they're not just someone you just walk by, like that could have been your neighbor, that could have been your friend.
If you see someone in need, you can call this crisis hotline number to reach the network of organizations like Homeward. For VCU InSight, I'm Tai Wong.
A few weeks out from the A10 tournament, and VCU men's basketball team is sitting at the top of the conference. InSight's Adam Cheek joins us from the newsroom with the latest on the Rams. Adam?
Elise, VCU basketball has fans excited for what the rest of the season could hold. The Rams have tallied more than 20 wins and fewer than 10 losses during a breakout season, as Coach Mike Rhodes has given the black and gold a boost during his second year. VCU has 3 in-conference games remaining, including an away game against Richmond, who the Rams beat by 21 points in February. VCU has a wide-open path to the A10 tournament and is already seeded in the NCAA tournament, and the team is averaging more than 70 points per game.
Adam Cheap reporting from our Richmond newsroom. Thanks, Adam.
The new addition to Monroe Park is hard to miss, a gold shipping box that can take you just about anywhere you want to go. VCU's Erica Huckabee tells us what's going on.
The shipping box in the middle of Monroe Park isn't a delivery, it's actually a portal connecting you to people around the world.
My favorite thing to see is when people don't have any idea what it is and they're just like, can I walk in there? And I'm like, yeah, sure.
It seems out of place in the middle of the park.
What time is it in Iraq?
But step inside and you'll be transported to another part of the world. The Portal Project first started in Brooklyn in 2014. The goal? To inspire and connect.
This is how the portal works. You can come in during walk-in hours or email the organizers to set an appointment. When you come in, you'll be face-to-face with a person from another part of the world. Right now, I'm talking with students in Iraq. Hey guys.
Hello. Students from Central Montessori got to experience what life is like in another country.
Because we've been studying these countries and like different cultures, and really you learn more from live talking to people than you do from books.
And the internet.
And the internet.
This is the only time the internet has failed me.
Seeing how excited the kids were that have come to visit when they came out was just awesome.
To them, we actually get the experience that's not about the government, it's just about how regular, normal people just live their lives in those countries every day.
The portal is open to anyone. Organizer Taylor Logue says it's not just a place to ask questions, but to answer them as well.
Some of the best conversations that I've had weren't between curators at all, were between someone who just walked into ours and someone who walked into another one. And they just like, people will ask like the craziest questions and it ends up, I don't know, it ends up being really cool.
The portal will be in the park until the end of April.
The organizers say they want to move the portal to different locations in the area. If you've got an idea of where they can go next, we shared some contact information on our social media sites. For VCU InSight, I'm Erica Huckabee.
Poppin' tags with the purpose, InSight's Kaylin Stevens went to check out a pop-up shop that's upcycling clothes for a good cause.
It's called Stitch Back.
It started as a pickup service for clothes and consignment and resale stores in Richmond.
And it's where shoppers can thrift with purpose.
We try and sell as much as we can, and then we make sure that anything that doesn't sell goes to a good home. So the different nonprofits we work with.
Local shop Ashby donated the clothing for the event. All of the money raised goes to Stay RVA, which raises money for Richmond schools.
So it's a 100% volunteer organization, so all these funds go right to projects at schools. So we do these stay days that happen 4 times a year, so the money raised goes to paint, brushes, things for teachers' lounges, all of that.
Over 2,500 gently used pieces of clothing, shoes and accessories were available for purchase by the pound. This pop-up may be over, but there will be others.
You can sell or donate your gently used clothing. Not only will you be compensated, but a portion of your donation will go to local nonprofit organizations.
And Tenny says they're always looking for volunteers.
Every time we do a pop-up, we always need help. We need help setting up, actually hosting the store, and then help setting down. There's only about 4 or 5 of us in Stitchback, so we are always looking for new volunteers.
For VCU InSight, Kaylin Stevens.
We have some information about Share RVA and the Stitchback program on our social media accounts. Honoring those who have died fighting for our country is the reason for the Virginia War Memorial. But the Mighty Pen Project turns this sacred place into a classroom. InSight's reporter Kelsey Jones is in the studio with this story.
Members of the armed services are respected because they are willing to put their lives on the line. Veterans see conflict, fight battles, and live to tell the stories. But sometimes they lose friends and loved ones along the way. This is the reason for the Mighty Pen Project. Every week, these veterans come to the Virginia War Memorial to inspire each other through their creative writing skills. Kathleen Harrison travels from Arlington, Virginia. She says this project is
empowering.
The instructor helps veterans with writing and with shaping their stories. Clay Mountcastle is the director of the Virginia War Memorial.
I was an Army brat myself, so I've been around the military my entire life, and giving back to veterans is just something that always appealed to me.
This is the Mighty Pen Project. Here, veterans turn their stories into books, poems, or plays.
The reason I've taken this class is I lost a son in Iraq in 2004, and I want to write his story.
The Mighty Pen Project is therapeutic for those who carry heavy burdens.
I think getting your thoughts down on paper is an important part of the grieving process, even if it's only for yourself or your immediate family.
Here at the Virginia War Memorial, veterans become an open book sharing their service and history. The Mighty Pen Project provides a variety of programs to memorialize these lives and remembrance of service.
This is something that I look forward to every year, and I don't miss a class. I'm going to be here on time, every time, ready to go.
Right now, the Mighty Pen Project is exclusively for veterans. Late next year, their family members can join as well. If you are a veteran and want to join this project, it's free. Classes are held every Wednesday at 6 p.m.
Still to come, how therapeutic horses are helping those with disabilities. VCU InSight will be right back.
When it comes to therapy animals, you might think of dogs first, but InSight's Katrina Tilbury reports on Dreamcatchers, a place where horses are the helpers.
It's magic. It's magic. This is a place where miracles happen pretty much every day.
Christine Burns' son has been coming to Dreamcatchers since 2008.
He is a developmentally delayed, nonverbal child with pretty intense autism.
Initially, her son was scared to be around the horses. Now, she says he loves his riding days. Burns says she's seen major improvements in his behavior.
It just seems like he's more centered in everything. He's more focused in his tasks. He's able to stay on task and follow multi-step directions better. And he's just a happier kid. So I think Dreamcatchers has really helped with that.
Dreamcatchers is hosting its annual fundraiser, the Cats a Dream Horse Show, on Sunday, March 3rd. Students riding in the show are raising money to help pay for their lessons.
They have a special pattern that they learn to ride. In the next few weeks, they'll be learning that pattern. Their families, their neighbors, their friends are all invited to come and watch them show off the skills that they've learned here at Dreamcatchers.
This will be the first Catch a Dream for instructor Janine Ricker.
Those little teeny tiny steps, they make a big difference. And you can see that when they leave with a smile, or they actually were able to steer their horse that day, and that's maybe something that you were working on with them.
You can donate directly to those students preparing for Catch a Dream by visiting dreamcatchers.org. For VCU InSight, I'm Katrina Tilbury.
Dreamcatchers is always looking for volunteers. We've shared information on volunteering on our social media. Just search VCU InSight on Twitter or Facebook.
From Meals on Wheels to community kitchens, this organization is working to fight hunger across Central Virginia. Here's InSight's Kaylin Stevens.
I'm here with Doug Pick, the president and CEO of Feed More. Doug, thank you for joining us.
Well, it's my pleasure, Kaylin. Great to be here.
So, can you tell us about the initiative of Feed More?
Oh, sure. It's a very, very large nonprofit here in the Richmond community, and it's Central Virginia's core hunger relief organization. We collect, prepare, and distribute food around 29 counties and 5 cities, so it's a very large area.
And how did you become involved with an organization like that?
Well, I'm an old corporate guy. I was 20 years at IBM, and then I was 12 years as an executive at Capital One. And I kind of semi-retired and found that that was just an awful thing to do. It really wasn't for me. I'm a very active guy. And so a good friend of mine, Jim Ukrop, a lot of folks know the Ukrop name, I asked him what nonprofits are looking for some leadership. And lo and behold, Feed More was one of them. So I threw my hat in the ring, and darn if I didn't get it. So I've been there 6 years now. It's been one of the great honors of my life to be the CEO there.
Okay. And what are some of the programs that Feed More offers to those in need?
Oh, we do a lot, Kaylin. I guess specifically, we look after families, of course, and we look after children, and we look after seniors. So those are the 3 groups. There's about 200,000 folks in our service area, which, by the way, goes through over to Williamsburg, up to Fredericksburg, over to Charlottesville, all the way down to North Carolina. So it's very urban within here, Richmond and Petersburg, and then very rural. So to look after these folks, we certainly do kids feeding during the school day, after school with school activities. We do a lot of summer feeding for those kids when they're out of school. These kids who didn't really ask to get put into this position they're in, we think they deserve a fighting chance, and food helps. We certainly look after families, and we're blessed with over 280 agencies. About 70% of them are places of faith who serve our food. So you think of a church pantry you've heard of. Most of them get their food from us. So we work through them, and they serve all these families. And then we have this amazing Meals on Wheels program, which is, of course, a national program. And within our walls, we serve about 800 seniors each and every day. They're spread all over our territory. We hand deliver their meals to their homes. And then we serve about 4,000 other seniors with some boxes that the government helps out with. And to do all that, we have this stunning community kitchen, which makes about 10,000 to 15,000 meals a week to serve these kids and to serve these
covering
seniors.
so many families, how did the recent government shutdown affect the pantry?
Oh, that's a good question. It did affect us. Now, we're not in Northern Virginia or DC where so many of them were, but this area does have 17,000 federal workers, so more than people know. Now, only about 20% of them were furloughed. And so our hunger hotline, which is where folks who call in to ask where can I go get food, it had a 100% increase, uptick in calls, so that was a lot. And then we took 9 specific pantries and really supercharged them and gave them yet more food and gave them lots of produce and lots of protein so that they could handle that need. And then we did 3 kind of pop-ups, distributions. We did 2 at Feed More, because a lot of these federal workers have never used our services.
And how do you go about getting volunteers, and how can people donate to?
The volunteers is, you might think difficult, but it's not. We have well over 200 volunteers a day, if you can imagine. And folks know of us. Folks have all been hungry. You've missed a meal or 2 or 3 yourself, I know, and everyone wants to help these folks. So we have 200 a day. People go online and sign up and sign in. And it's just amazing. So volunteers we need a lot of, but there's not a shortage of.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are there any upcoming events that you would like to share that are coming?
Oh, there's the Kids Expo, which is coming up in February, and that's certainly, if you bring a canned good, you'll be able to get $1 off your ticket. And there's many others. You can simply go to feedmore.org and you'll see all the events.
Okay. And I've been speaking with Doug Pick, President and CEO of Feedmore. We've shared some information about Feedmore program on our social media channels. Just search for VCU InSight on Facebook or Twitter. Doug, thank you for being here.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Kaylin. Thank you so much. Yeah.
And in our final story tonight, it's a basketball tournament with winners and losers. But as InSight's Jacob Sexton shows us, it's not only about the competition.
The teams in this tournament may be in it to win it, but even through competition, one organization is bringing people together. Russell Scott has been playing ball since he was 8.
It's just like every sport. You have some people who are overly competitive.
And while he's here for the competition, he's also around for the camaraderie.
I'm getting to the point now where I'm really more enjoying the education of the newer players and getting them into the sport and teaching them.
The Richmond Rim Riders have been competing in wheelchair basketball tournaments for over 40 years.
I just wanted to find something I could do that was active, that could increase my fitness level. And it's really a game of inches. Being in position and being out of position is literally just a matter of a couple of inches.
The Rim Riders' core values is to work hard, remain enthusiastic, and help each other out. The Rim Riders are now part of Sportable, an organization that previously only had youth basketball. Its director, Forrest Lodge, reached out to the team a few years ago.
And we really felt the need to bring in that adult team to create that pipeline for our athletes to continue to have opportunities in the area through the sport.
Sportable offers 12 adaptive sports in the Richmond area.
So, you know, we really pride ourselves on something we call the Sportable way, and that's just, you know, treating everyone with respect, having a positive attitude, you know, really being enthusiastic about what we do.
And what I ended up finding was something that I didn't realize I had been missing since I became an amputee, and that was the ability to physically compete at a high level against other players, and that camaraderie that your team and the bond that you form with your team and traveling all over the country. And
you better drop 50 or turn 50. Looking forward to it. 1, 2, 3, defense!
Sportable's youth wheelchair basketball team, the Spokes, will play on March 9th and the 10th in the East Coast Conference Tournament at Glen Allen High School. For VCU InSight, I'm Jacob Sexton.
That does it for this edition of VCU InSight.
You can see any of the stories from tonight's newscast by following us on Twitter and Facebook. Let us know about any stories you'd like to see on our show.
You can also find the full show on our YouTube page. Just search VCU InSight. Thanks for watching. I'm Elise Kim.
And I'm Sarah Daniel. We'll see you next time.